Hey everyone, this is Jove with Jove's Gaming Lounge, and today we're going to continue the series here with my currently set up emulation PC that's using a i7 2600K and a GTX 770. Today we're going to be using Retroarch, and I'm going to show you which cores I use on my games. Basically we're going to do cart-based systems here today, so the old NES, SNES, only disc-based game we're going to use is the Sega CD or the Mega CD, and for that we need Retroarch. And here we are at the Retroarch webpage. So we get Retroarch here at retroarch.com, and I'm going to go ahead and get the download, which is going to make it a portable version. You can go ahead and get the installer. I choose to get the portable just because I like to move it around. So portable 64, I'm just going to go ahead and download it. Right, once you download it, it should show up in your downloads folder where you want to extract it. I use 7-zip. You can use the built-in Windows extractor. Alright, once it's extracted, I like to rename it. Just get rid of the Win64 because I know what I'm using. So Retroarch, and I'm just going to go ahead and dump this onto the desktop. Go ahead and close that out. Now we'll go here and I'm going to create a shortcut to my desktop. We're going to send to desktop. Close that. We'll open it again. This is the initial setup right here. Save the new configuration into that folder. First thing I like to do with Retroarch is update things. So I'm going to go into Online Updater, and this is a version 1.914 as of the making of this video. I like to update the database first, then the assets, and then everything else. And while that's going on, we're going to jump into the core downloader. Now, I went ahead and separated the games on my system into cart-based and disc-based games, because the disc-based games I'm going to use standalone emulators for, but for everything else I'm going to use Retroarch. So cart-based games that I have here, I'm just going to do this so we can all see what's going on. Core downloader. So we have Atari Jaguar and Atari Lynx. We're just going to scroll down. Atari here. Atari Virtual Jaguar. That's the core I use for that. For the Lynx, I like to use the Beetle Lynx. Next we have NEC PC Engine and TurboGrafx 16. So we'll just scroll down until we see it. This one, Beetle PCE. That's going to get us our TurboGrafx games running. Next we have the Nintendo 3DS on our list. And we can use Retroarch for this. It does make it simple. We can also use the standalone emulator. So I'm actually going to go ahead and get it here and also do a standalone emulator setup as well. But for now, 3DS. Next we have Game Boy. So Game Boy and Game Boy Color, we're going to use the same emulator. I like to use Same Boy. For Game Boy Advanced, whoa. Okay, so I just misclicked and it downloaded a different one. I'm going to show you how to get rid of it, because there's no like right click function here. So we're just going to jump back in here and I'm going to go down to Nintendo, MGBA for Game Boy Advance games. Technically you could use MGBA for Game Boy and Game Boy Color. So if you just want to use just one, you can go ahead and do that as well. Nintendo 64. We have two choices here and I like to get them both. Certain games I'm going to want to run with one or the other. The difference here is you want accurate N64 or close to accurate N64 emulation, you want to use the parallel N64. If you want something with a little more speed, if this is actually giving you trouble running games, or if your system isn't up to it, I would say a system that's not up to it would be a 2-core system. Most 4-core systems that I have, even old laptops, can run parallel N64. but your mileage may vary. So Mupen 64 Plus will run most games where you're going to have difficulty running it on parallel. Next we have NES. But while we're here, we see Super NES. So we're going to go ahead and get SNES 9X. Okay, moving on to NES. Pretty much you could choose anything here that you like. I prefer to use Nostopia UE Undead Edition. I like Nostopia. Nostopia has worked for me, and it actually has a bunch of cool different color palettes. Now we're going to go into Sega. I like to use Genesis plus GX. You can use wide for certain games that you know to work with them, or if you want to get some ROM hacks that use this, you can go ahead and get that. I like to stick with just like the basic. We're going to use this. However, you can see that it's Master System, Game Gear, Mega Drive, and CD. We don't see 32X until we see Pico drives. So if you want to play your 32X games, you want to get Pico drive. And then I'll show you how to segregate these games when we load the games into the Retroarch. So we have these systems here covered. And the last on my list here is going to be Snk Neo Geo Pocket. And here we go, Neo Geo Pocket. So there's two kinds. I like to use the Beetle Neo Pop. Now once all that is done, I'm right clicking and I'm just going to close Retroarch for now. And we're going to go to the Retroarch folder where I'm going to show you how to get rid of a core that you accidentally downloaded. So we're going to go into cores here and I'm going to look for the one I got. TBG Dual. I didn't mean to get this one. Just click it and delete it. These are the cores we're going to be using. We'll close that. Open it back up. And we're going to add games here. What I like to do is go to the main menu, go to show desktop menu. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to start with this list. We're going to hit up Atari Jaguar first. I like to copy this because I have, for the majority of these here, they are named in a particular way in which Retroarch is going to recognize it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new playlist. I'm going to paste it, and we have Atari-Jaguar. Atari Jaguar shows up, and we'll see the console icon show up right next to it. If you were to do this without the particular formatting, let's give this as an example. Let's just erase that and put a space here. You're going to see a folder, and it's not going to give you the particular console icon, recognizing it as the official playlist. So we're going to do it just like this. Now I'm going to get rid of this here. Just right click and delete the playlist. Highlight the system first before you do anything. I'm going to go into Atari Jaguar. I'm going to go ahead and highlight everything minus a few of these here. I'm going to drag it in. I'm going to ask you for your core. We're going to do Virtual Jaguar. Database is going to be Atari Jaguar. We're going to hit OK. And our games have been imported. We won't see it here yet unless you restart Retroarch. So I'm going to close this. And we're going to go down to restart. So now that we see the games listed here, you'll see them all here. You click the game and it's going to launch right into the emulator. And we just hit F1 to close the content. Repeat the process for every other game you have here. I'm going to do this one more time just to show you. I'm going to use a different system here, and I'm going to go ahead and get some Nintendo 64 games. So I'm going to copy the name like this. You're going to do Nintendo space Nintendo 64. I'm going to write that into the new playlist. And 64 logo shows up, or the little console image. I'm going to get the games from here. Drag them in. Find your emulator. We're going to mostly do parallel. Nintendo 64. Okay. We'll close it, restart. Nintendo 64 controller shows up here with the Nintendo 64 games. And as soon as you launch a game, it'll launch in parallel N64 or whichever you chose to run the games with. You can hit F to full screen, Retroarch. And if you want to change your color scheme here, you go to user interface under settings, go to appearance, menu color theme, and you have a few to choose from. We're going to go to Nord theme. Some games may need this and some systems may need this. I know for sure we're going to use Sega CD here, so you are going to need a BIOS. You'll find them just by searching Retroarch BIOS pack. And you can see popular searches even say 2021. So I would recommend that first search you see there, but I can't tell you to go there. Once you've found your BIOS pack, drag the system folder into the Retroarch directory, and it's going to copy all the information into the system folder here, where all your BIOS will be here, ready for play. Okay, so by the time you're done here, it should look something like this. As you can see, we have the games, the same systems and games represented here. We'll move out of this menu. We're going to hit close. Going to come into Retroarch. We're going to restart Retroarch. Going to hit F. F will full screen us. And here on the left hand side, we see all of our games in their proper categories. They're all set up and ready to go. All you have to do is just pick a game. Just going to randomly pick RBI Baseball here, hit run, and the game starts. This is 32X using Pico Drive. We'll hit F1, we'll close that, we'll back up, we'll pick a different game here. We're going to go to Sega Mega Drive, pick a random game, run, and it's a Mega Drive game using Genesis plus GX. We'll hit F1, close content. We're going to try one more game here randomly. It's Super Nintendo. And this is Super Nintendo using SNES 9X. You're basically configured the cores to the ROMs, and they're just ready to run. So this is my setup. If you found this useful, if you found this helpful, give the video a like so that more people can see this. If you want to tune in for the other games that I'm going to continue installing on my system here, click subscribe. And I just want to thank everybody for watching and recommending these videos, and I'll see you guys next time.